50 Cent's protege, The Game, released the documentary, which became an instant platinum seller. However, as record sales were soaring, rumors circulated that these two artists, known for their beef with others, were now pointing their aim at each other.
I'm not gonna say that he didn't help with the project, because he played a small part in the success of the documentary, but he did the things that he was supposed to do. We were all a camp. The things that Eminem did for him, you know what I'm saying? The things that Dre did for him. But you didn't hear Dre on the radio or him on the radio talking about they helped 50 with this, or Dre gave him in the club, or, you know what I'm saying? It's not about that. It's about us all making money and keeping it under one roof and everybody being successful.
On the Funkmaster Flex show, 50 Cent and G-Unit stated that The Game was no longer part of G-Unit. That night at a concert in Long Beach, Game dissed all the members of G-Unit.
Do you think Game has a problem with the relationship that you have with the rest of the team?
I think he has a problem. I think he has a problem with my position. I think he'd like to be 50 Cent, like the head.
You know how sometimes you're in a situation where anything could spark something to happen. And it was there, it been there.
Kiss has been one of my homeboys from, the early stages of my career on the underground mixtape level, and Fat Joe is a dude who I got love for in the streets.
And I guess the spark was when Game said he didn't have no problem with Nas or them other guys. That was that spark that I guess that 50 felt was the last straw, and it was time to execute.
I felt like what he was saying was disrespectful on the radio, because everybody that I would have differences with at this point is cool with him.
While Game was overseas, he was hearing things that 50 was saying, and then the Vibe magazine came out.
I ain't been able to conjure up all the things that's been said and what's going on these radio stations, but I guarantee you when I find out, man, I'm gonna make my decision on, what's my next move.
G-Unit is here, 50's here, and Game can be anywhere in between that and probably even bigger than that. And you can't suppress that. You can't suppress that with just G-Unit.
I wanted to be on Dre's level, on Eminem's level, and I wanted to be respected as that. I don't think 50 respected me in that aspect. I think he wanted me to be a G-Unit soldier, which I'm not.
He got a whole coast that he represents, so it ain't the same thing. These ain't no guys out of your neighborhood in Queens. This is a guy who has a whole coast that didn't have anything for 10 years.
I don't even know how this whole beef came about with me and him, because we're all under the same roof. But he started it, and I was ready to finish it.
Have you two tried to sit down or talk about it?
I haven't even had a conversation with him, but there's no need for communication after you've been that disrespectful.
So this is unfixable.
This is it.
Many industry figures felt the beef was nothing more than a way to promote record sales. However, on a cold day in March, those industry figures would be proven wrong.
Well, a member of 50 Cent's entourage is recovering today from a gunshot wound. The 24-year-old Los Angeles man was reportedly shot in the leg last night while in the lobby of a Manhattan radio station.
We were in New York. We didn't have cars. We just hopped out of cabs, and we went up there trying to, defuse something and talk to a guy that didn't want to talk. He remained upstairs in the radio station and sent security down.
Police say a group was exiting the building. They were leaving and they started to argue, and someone pulled a gun. 50 was not injured during the incident. Victim is in stable condition. No arrests have been made.
When the security came down and they seen, 30 Black Wall Street guys outside, and they start shooting at the ground. Some shots skidded up off the ground and hit my man in his leg a couple times.
Most news reports got the story wrong. When the dust had settled, it was discovered that it was actually the Game's friend who had been shot, not one of 50's entourage.
People say, they like to say, well, 50 Cent, shot one of Game's, cohorts or whatever, but that's not what happened. 50 Cent went out the back door of the radio station, and his security, armed security, which were more than likely NYPD, came out and were, they felt they were scared. So they pulled out guns, and dude got to shooting at the ground, skidded up, hit Kevin. He was bleeding in the snow, and I feel embarrassed by what happened, and I felt like I let all my guys down and leading them in that, in that situation where we had to retreat because we were outgunned.
My whole thing to Game was, if we do this, if you do this, we fuck hip-hop up. And it's hard for me to say that because I come from the streets too. And for me to look at Game and say, dude, he shot your friend, but don't do anything. When we come from a culture of, you shoot me, I shoot you back. You kill one of my friends, I kill two of your friends. You kill three of my friends. That's how we understand the resolution of beef. And that's why I have to commend Game, because we talked them out of going that route.
With the situation rapidly deteriorating and another showdown bound to take place, 50 Cent reached out to the Game to squash the beef. On the anniversary of Biggie Small's death, the two met up at Harlem's famed Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture to donate over $250,000 to youth charities.
I just want to apologize on behalf of myself, 50 Cent, and to the fans, the radio stations, our labels, and I'm almost ashamed to have participated in the things that went on the last couple of weeks.
In the shadow of the untimely death of Biggie, today marks the anniversary of his death. We're here today to show that people can rise above even the most difficult circumstances, and together we can put negativity behind us. I feel like this is an opportunity for people to see us make peace.
For them guys to say, you know what? I got a choice. I can do what I've been doing when something like this happened, or I can not mess up a game that is getting us paid. And it ain't only for the money. We're talking about a whole generation that if a retaliation would have happened, especially if it was a casualty, that would have been like how Pac and Biggie was, the whole game would have been crushed.
We're making a statement that is a lot louder than the sound of just two voices. And we showing that you can control your destiny, not only your destiny, but your future. I feel like that I'm out of a situation where I was muffled, you know what I'm saying? Like muffled like a killer dog, or muffled like they do, you know, horses, man. I feel like now that I'm out of that situation, I can breathe a little bit, and I'm able to do the things that I want to do as far as my company and my career is concerned, because, you know, being over there, I guess it just wasn't a thing for me.
So now, do we call Game a fake gangster rapper only because he didn't retaliate when 50 or whoever did something to one of his friends? Or do we commend him for being a man, to standing up and saying, you know what, this is bigger than me, for an understanding history of hip-hop, and saying, you know what, I'm not gonna take that route, but I'm gonna go ahead to a press conference, and I'm gonna take these pictures, and I'm gonna give a speech from my heart. Does that make him less of a gangster rapper? You know what I'm saying? And that's our responsibility. Do we encourage the bull crap and then criticize it later? Or do we encourage, hey, and commend and say, yo, you did the right thing by doing what you did? Because it was really in Game's hand. It could have went either way. Trust me, it could have been terrible.
Some critics question whether the truce was sincere, but as for now, only time will tell.
You know, I got the teardrop on some, you know, on some fucked up shit in the streets. You know you know how the teardrop comes about, man. And I kind of felt like with me having, you know, a new company and me having my guys and just new life. My son's almost 2 years old. You know, my mom is happy. You know, my grandmother's looking down on me, and I'm finally doing something positive. I just donated over, you know, a little bit under $500,000 to the Compton Unified School District. So it's all about new life. You know what I'm saying? The butterfly is just a representation of new life. That's what it is. I did research on it, and I, you know, I looked up something that meant or kind of defined new life, and it was a butterfly. Shit could have been a lion, but it was a fucking butterfly, man. So I got a butterfly tattooed on my face, but that don't mean that I won't run up and punch your fucking teeth out if you say something slick. It just means that I'm trying not to punch your teeth out, so watch your words.